let's do what we really like and not to cause trouble to the society. I was reading my book, the thick one, about the Buddhism, and this is Shin Buddhism that applies to Zen and others. And I didn't say it this way, but the idea is like leaving the society to find the way you really like. Kind of ditching off from the society's convention and find your own way of living, but causing no trouble to the society. I said it this way: do what we really like and help the society, but if that's not easy, just don't cause trouble to the society. And that's possibly have better attitude or way to find what you really like, because you don't have to think too much about the society. I think a lot about what the future of society, in my view, but if you are constrained to fit in the society, I can relate to that too. The key is be free to be able to do what you really like as your heart desire, and living in society is difficult, then find a way so that you make that happen, what you really like, even outside the society. Kind of like a hippie life. But if you don't cause trouble, why not? What this may help is less use of your brain or the mind and focus on what you really like. I met people last night in this backpackers inn, and when I met them in the kitchen, I felt there's something inspiring, because their attitude to talk with me, immediately I felt that there's openness and curiosity and having fun kind of attitude instead of being cautious to find out who this guy is, me, or anything. Some people have more defensive attitude, but for some reason I got this sense of no constraint and fun-loving. Yes, fun-loving. Then I realized after having time more to sit, because they offered me to eat some fish they caught. So again, the openness. And that helped me to, or help us to talk a lot about what they do and what I do, how similar or different. Really deep conversation, because this free thinking makes us to be curious in how you may enjoy your life. Of course, everybody is different, but if we find some common ground to talk, I think that's wonderful. So, as this page I found in this book was the one. It's really thick. Nara-san, my mentor, who edited this book, was talking about this Shin Buddhism, and this is Nembutsu Namu Amidabutsu. The way they share this is to say the idea of Namu Amidabutsu is to pray to live life, and for that Shinran, the founder of Shin Buddhism, said that be not too much in tune to the society. In fact, avoid the chaos in the society and explore the potential with this idea of Shin Buddhism, Namu Amidabutsu, to be free. And what it says is basically the same as I always talk about, but in a straightforward way, that the idea of Shin Buddhism is to throw away the thinking mind to deal with whatever the situation in the society, and let the Amida's power, meaning the way of nature in my view, and I think that's the way they see it, to take over. For example, it says, this is a famous saying, it's like the fire is going on in the impermanent world that we live in. So don't deal with the useless talk, and be sincere in what you want to do, and everything can be fake if you live in the world so empty. There's no truth in that. It's very straightforward. It's talking about what goes on in our mind if we get into the worldly affair in the society. There's no truth in it. And for that, don't be caught up in what's going on in the society, even to avoid. So, like in Vipassana, they spend 10 days or more in meditation and live like a monk, away from the society, but focus on your own. Not egotistical, but to be clear with yourself what you really like. And after the 10th day, at the end they talk about compassion to live in the society. But before that, just focus on your own to clean up so that your mind is clear. know who you are at the core of our being. And for that, the suggesting of Shin Buddhism suggests to stay out of the worldly affair. It's not just that, but the fakeness of it. And when you have that, the people may find themselves who are like that as real friend or brothers and sisters going for this way of Dhammayamidabsu, and they can get to know with each other deeply and respect with each other. And in there is a common base and equality in the way of life, based upon this idea of Namamidabutsu, which to me is to pursue what you really like within, not to be too confined by the society. In a way, it's a bit counterintuitive for me, because I like to be involved in the society to share ideas so that we can be liberated in our mind. But that's what I feel may need to be adjusted, meaning to what degree can you do that? Find the people who are in line to be in a most pure sense of honest to yourself, to really do what you really like to do, but leave the society that you feel is too burdensome away, because it traps you and confuses you, and you have to sometimes lie to your true self for the sake of just getting by. And for that, you may find your life free from this image that I have, is the burning in the society of craziness, and be pure on your own, finding your own space, and with your friend who can go with your way, so that you may detach yourself from the society to find your own mini society. I haven't said it this way straightforward, because I say may all beings be happy, but it doesn't mean you have to confine yourself to be stuck in a society for the sake of just being in a society. I hear many people in Japan, and maybe other part of the world, for people to be inclined to live alone. And the society may see them as someone who doesn't fit or incapable to fit. So we may not want to do that, but to be honest to yourself and to be realistic to what you really want to do, I think you have to find your own way. In the right circumstance that you may find, and find peace in it. In other words, create your own mini universe or mini society that is in line to your true self, possibly away from the conventional way of living in the society. It's a pragmatic way of living peaceful. When you are little, parents may say this is how you fit the society. It may be necessary to find a way so that you don't need to fit the society for the sake of you losing your own sense to be having fun, enjoy life, but not causing trouble with the society. And if everybody does that, just for the sake of imagination, the society may change from imposing the generic view of the society and the chaos, information overload, but have a fresh view which is more in tune to you, and that kind of sense may create a new mini society, and that mini society may find a movement that may change the fallacy of some craziness that society may provide. I think that's a pragmatic way to look at it. Revisit the idea of your society. Maybe like my idea of the mini company. Within the company, find your own destiny, which is to help customers and suppliers that you deal with, and focus on that. Not to be burdened by the difficulty in the surroundings. So you have your own way to connect to the society. I think our body function is like that. It's not the generic construct of the society or the body's work, but each body cell can function well when the brain is not pushing what each cell should be doing. So the brain is not the master, but each cells autonomously managing their way to connect each other can change the whole construct of our being. And the mind is not the dictator of what to be done. But we use the mind, we use the brain, but listen to your heart. Something like that. I met these people and found it very interesting. The basic principle of how they live life, finding what they like and finding their way to live. the society that they choose to live. Something to think about, or not to think, but just to experiment and see what can be done. I can tell about my story of at the age 30 or so, I felt like I was cornered to live in this society, but I wanted to find my own destiny, and that's how I made a move from Japan to the US and explored my dream, and that may fit to this kind of a way of thinking. Thank you. And go back to sleep.